My name is W.F. Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. My uncle was brought over here by the trader 379 years ago. My uncle cannot talk his own language. He does not know that he is my uncle. He likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing. Why does he like the devil? Because the devil put fear in him when he was a little boy. Why does he fear now, since he is a big man? Because the devil taught him to eat the wrong food. Does that have anything to do with the above question number 10? Yes, sir. That makes him other than his own self. What is his own self? His own self is a righteous Muslim. Are there any Muslims other than righteous? I beg your pardon. I have never heard of one. How many Muslim sons are there in North America? Approximately 3 million. How many original Muslims are there in North America? A little over 17 million. Did I hear you say that some of the 17 million do not know that they are Muslims? Yes, sir. I hardly believe that, unless they are blind, deaf, and dumb. Well, they were made blind, deaf, and dumb by the devil when they were babies. Can the devil fool a Muslim? Not nowadays. Do you mean to say that the devil fooled them 379 years ago? Yes, the trader made an interpretation that they would receive gold for their labor more than they were earning in their own country. Did they receive gold? No. The trader disappeared, and there was no one that could speak their language. Then what happened? Well, they wanted to go to their own country, but they could not swim 9,000 miles. Why didn't their own people come and get them? Because their own people did not know they were here. When did their own people find out they were here? Approximately 60 years ago. What's up, everybody? This is Super Mike 2164. Want to have a little talk. Happy Saviors Day. February 26th is Saviors Day, and this is in the Nation of Islam. We celebrate the day of birth of Master Fard Muhammad. Vitally important. This is a Black American treasure. The Nation of Islam is. And the teachings was given in Detroit, Michigan. Master Fard Muhammad traveled all over the earth. You know, he did travel all over the earth. He was born in 1877, February 26th, near the holy city of Mecca. The enemy is going to dispute every section of your narrative. That's just what they're going to do. So the enemy is going to dispute what Master Fard Muhammad told us about himself. And they have no reason to dispute that. We have no reason to dispute that, because if he was bringing us a false knowledge, this thing would not have survived through multiple transfers of power. You see, you leaving the Nation of Islam. He planted a seed that is growing into a strong tree, and it's just growing and growing and growing. And it's surviving all sorts of onslaughts. So this is how you know it was something special going on. The enemy is going to create fake controversy because they didn't like that Master Fard Muhammad taught that the black man was God, the original man, and that the white people were devils. Because Master Fard's mother, Muhammad's mother, was a white woman, and his father was a real black man. And this is what he taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who did the work of lifting up the nation. Master Fard Muhammad worked in the city of Detroit. He was seen by hundreds of thousands, about tens of thousands of people. He preached, he taught people, he organized things, he created schools, he went to Chicago. He was seen, worked with 25,000, raised up 25,000 members there in Chicago. and he left the teachings, and he left the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in control. And one of the biggest controversies to me that's funny is just because we look at his picture today, because he's a man, so he has a picture, but because they had black and white photography back then, people say, oh, that's a white man, when nobody else who literally seen him and worked with him says that he's white. But nobody who literally actually seen him says that he was a pure white man. Only people who look at a picture. But whatever. And it's so funny to me, because now that the Nation of Islam is kind of developing, now that we're kind of developing ourselves and growing international, all of the cynicism and all the stuff that black folks in America have rejected from the nation, now that the wisdom is being shared with the Latino members of our planet, or the so-called Latino, but really they're indigenous people that currently call themselves Hispanic, but they're indigenous original people, and they have to be brought with this supreme wisdom now that it's being shared with other indigenous and original peoples all around the planet. And the black Americans somehow now you want it. But you'll still have it. But the point is, that's interesting to me. And I wanted to kind of touch on this reparations talk. Right now, on Facebook, we see this one question. I had this one question. It says something like, how many of y'all think, I think this is a loser question, how many of y'all think that this so-called reparations bill is going to pass? This is a group full of about 1 million black people. Each post is going to be seen probably by hundreds of thousands of black folks. And you talking about what you think is going to happen. When you have numbers, black people, speak with authority. Black people, it's over 50 to 60 million of us in this nation. The bottom line, and keep in mind, I know there's a black self-identity, but then there's some people that want to say they're Moors, they want to say they're mixed, they want to say they're Catholic, all these different. These are people who can legitimately claim original black people. They can legitimately claim that because they have enough of the bloodline. Meaning, if your grandparent was pure black, you can legitimately say that you are black, because this is how America was developed here. So the point is, we got to start speaking with authority. Reparations happens because we make it happen. And you don't compromise on your survival. It don't matter what you think they want to give you. Fuck that. You do it. You don't ask. You don't get what you want just if white people are happy with it. Cool, true enough. It's cool to explain because, the reasonable ones, it's less resistance. But fuck that. We got to have our reparations. We have Cali House. This is why they hide your history. Because they want to shape your narrative. Because if they shape what you believe about yourself and about the way the world works and what is available to you, if they shape what you believe and you think is your own idea, then they can shape your motivation into how you're going to fight and what you're going to fight for. Your opinion is a portion of your power. And if you have a collective amount of opinions that agree on a certain thing, then that thing can be brought into existence. And this is the reason why they hate people who have a good communication. That's why they restrict information. This is the reason why they control media. because this is how you organize and direct the people to direct the resources, so that we can organize and take care of ourselves and direct value to where it's needed. So, all I'm saying is, black folks, speak with authority on this reparations thing. It doesn't matter. This is a thing that it must happen. It must happen. See, because the only way that you're going to not get reparations done is if they get to kill all the black people, that's what they're bringing all the so-called the immigrants and all these other folks in. But every plan that they use, every plan that this enemy have made to try to destroy us, it backfires. So we have to learn how to accept our own and be ourselves. We are not white people. We don't have that lineage, okay? We are black Americans. We know where we can track where we come from in a direct sense as far as our lineage memory and what we went through. Now as we talking about what built us up and what created our group, now we start to get dispersed because we are from various tribes in Africa. You got other groups that kind of mix into us, whites, native tribes that were here prior to Columbus. All of that was mixed into what's called a black American. And, and that's for a lot of the people in the Western hemisphere here. So the point is this here. We got to understand that we're moving into a new level of power. It's like you got to grow. You can't act like you're 5 years old anymore. It's just like that old, that picture where you see where there's a baby elephant. You can stop it from moving around and train it because it's tied by a little rope. But as it becomes an adult, you can put that same rope around a chair and that elephant will not move because it doesn't believe that it has the power. So as we grow, we have more powers than we had back in 1865 when the white supremacist was able to just shoot us down and kill us and stop all of our good movements and destroy our towns. So that's another thing that I wanted to say. Like, for example, we have this one narrative. I got this one book. This is part of Americans. We will shoot back. This is a story of armed resistance in Mississippi. And, we have a lot of black towns like Mound Bayou, Mississippi. And this is a brother. He's showing, black folks protected our land. And that's still here. But yeah, Charles Caldwell, when after these white people lost this war in the United States, see, Lincoln was not going to win re-election because, his side, the Union people, they were losing this war. So they got the black people in, the black soldiers, former enslaved, most of them former enslaved people. They registered in, they start killing their former slave masters. They win the war, okay? So now as the Confederates here, they were told they could not re-enslave the black people, so they stopped the Union did not allow the former landowners to vote, and they allowed instead the former enslaved people to vote. And these constitutional congresses or these constitutional conventions, because they start forming new parts and amendments to the Constitution, some of these Confederates refused to attend these conventions, but the black people came. And so some of those first, right after 1865, after the Civil War was over, a lot of those things where black people had created those constitutions in the states, because the states had to match the federal constitution because they could not allow enslavement. So the point is here, it was a lot of black riches. We were getting legislation in our favor, specific things for black folks. The white supremacists got mad at that. We were taking over, right? We were doing good. We were building towns. We were having fun and growing on land. We were doing prosperous things, developing ourselves, teaching ourselves how to read. selling our services, running our businesses. They got mad at that because they was like, oh my God, we're going to have to actually work with these N-words because they're actually smart. So they betrayed us and they started allowing them to kill us again. Since that point in time, they have been afraid because of the Jim Crow thing. They've been afraid and made you fight tooth and nail to get any legislation. So when we talk about how easy it is for LGBT people to get legislation, how easy it is for specific to their needs, how easy it is for immigrants to come, especially from Hispanic countries, to come and get legislation specific to them. How easy it is for Asians to get, specific legislation for them. Well, what's happening is kind of the same thing with the Civil War. When they wanted to disenfranchise the former Confederates, they started giving the black people legislation. So now that they want to disenfranchise the blacks, because the black people are starting to we've been trying for over 100 years, and now we're starting to actually assert ourselves. They need to have these buffer classes and make the legislation for them. So everything of substance that we get, we got to know that we are being opposed. So it is not because we are lazy and stupid. And many of us are stupid. But guess what? Most of us are not lazy because most of us work, and most of us are not stupid. We are doing things, okay? So that's all I wanted to say. And basically, black folks, we got to just kind of understand that we are being opposed. It's not something that, is out of the normal. It's not something weird. It's not something that, we got to just woe is us and we're never going to win type of thing. We are literally, the trend is going in our favor. The stuff that our parents and grandparents and ancestors have been fighting for decades and decades, all of these decisions that these white folks have been made. And when I'm talking about white people, if this doesn't apply to you and your family, if you a white person, you don't feel threatened by black folks having, a benefit for themselves and their family, I'm not talking about you, because there's a lot of white people who don't feel threatened, but there's a lot of white folks who feel literally threatened if black folks have something special, that we get to do what we want to do to try to develop our families in our communities. So the point is, it's like this. You got to understand that there's very powerful interests who do not want to change the nature and dynamics of this government experiment. Keep in mind, the people are still going to be here. We're going to organize ourselves. But if you allow the black people have such a mentality, because we had the process of enslavement and disenfranchisement, all these type of things, as soon as you empower black folks, they seen what we did after the Civil War. We start making these things fair, and there's people who are not equipped to survive in fair environments. It's like you got all these homeless people on the streets. The policies of this country are failures. You cannot have pure capitalism, which is what you have. Everything in your society can't be based on capitalism. It's going to fail. Everything in your society cannot be based on socialism. It's going to fail. Everything in your society cannot be based on communism. It's going to fail. And we're talking about who owns the means of production for various industries. There's the means of production owned by private citizens, or the means of production owned by government, are the means of production owned by, the public or something. Something like that. So in some cases, for example, industry, prison industry, The justice system should not have capitalism in it. There should be no capitalist motivation in the justice system. People have to get paid. It should be a service, but people need to be getting paid. But yeah, you can't have that as a capitalist system. Attorneys working for more money. You know, the law is the law. Why can't people represent themselves if they're equipped to do that? You know, I don't know. You know, that money has to get out of that. Your election system. Your election system, you can't have based on capitalism. It can't be where the person with the most money has the best advantage to win. You know, like political ads should not be even allowed on, you know, mainstream news where they have to pay. Or if they allow them on the mainstream news, you can't. You know, you cannot. I mean, that money has to just get out of there. You can't have capitalism there in your political system. Because the point is, the one thing about the socialism type systems is this. Socialism recognizes the connection that the decisions affect the collective. And so collectivism, you know, you got to have that in some aspects of your society. When it comes to products, goods and services, these is a market economy. You have some capitalism there. And that's where that kind of, you restrict that capitalism so that people can be motivated, because it is a good driver of inventions and motivator. But you can't let that spill off into some vital points of your system. Otherwise, you know, it's just not going to work right. And it has to be, capitalism has to be subordinate to the most moral parts of your society. So you won't have rich people overcoming the law just because they have dollars and money and stuff. You know, so these are the type of things that we need to understand. You know, just going through a couple of points. Everybody press the thumbs up. Tell me what you think about the video. You know, any questions? Peace.